Hello! So today I have a super fun sewing project, and this is one that's been on my to-do list for quite a while, so I'm excited to get into it. I'm going to be making a pair of wrap pants, and the pattern that I'm using is the Winslow Culotte pattern from Helen's Closet. So the pattern itself is actually just a standard culotte pattern with box pleats. But Helen has a blog post for a hack on how to change this culotte pattern into a wrap pant pattern. So I'm following the instructions on her blog in order to make these. So I've already gone ahead and I printed out and taped together and cut out the pattern pieces. So I actually don't need all of the pieces from the pattern because I'm not following the standard instructions. So all I actually need are the front and back pieces for the legs. The pattern also comes with a waistband piece as well as a pocket piece, but I'm not going to be using those. And then for fabric, I'm going to use this, which is actually a duvet cover that I thrifted a while ago with the intention of making these pants from it. So again, this has been on my to-do list for a while because I think I bought this back in March. So there's plenty of fabric here. Be more than enough to make the pants out of. I don't know if it's a double or a queen size, so there's tons here. I thought the floral print was really cute. And I'm making these pants just as kind of like loungy pajama-ish pants, so I'm not going to be wearing these out in public. It would be a little bit bold for that, I think, at least for me. So because this was thrifted, I think the duvet cover cost me like $7, $7 or $8. It was really cheap. And I'm only going to be using the front side of this for this project. So I'm still going to have the back side of it, which is just a plain pale pink to use for something else later on. So super cheap, which I'm really happy about. So to get started, I'm just going to separate the front and back of the duvet cover, and I'm not going to bother seam ripping because that would take forever. I'm just going to go around and cut off the seam to separate the two sides, and then I'll get my fabric laid out, my pattern pieces cut out, and then I'll start sewing it together. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so I've got my pieces all cut out. So this is the two back panels, backs and fronts. And I actually still have a ton of fabric left over. So, and this is folded in half, so there's quite a bit. I still have to cut out the ties, but the blog post says to stitch your pant pieces together, measure how wide the waistband is, and then add 40 inches. So I'm gonna stitch everything together first and then measure and cut out my ties and then attach those. So next step is to hem the sides of all of the pants because it's gonna be the wrap pants, so it's gonna be open at the side. So I have to hem the sides of those and then stitch the inseam and the crotch seam. And then the kind of main structure of the pants is pretty much done. After that, it is just cutting out and attaching the ties and then hemming the bottom of the pants. And that's it. So it's a super easy project. So I'm gonna go ahead and I think I'm gonna iron the side seams first, and then I'll go ahead and stitch the panels together. Okay, so to catch you up to speed, I have gone ahead and I have hemmed the side of the pants. So sides are finished, and then I zigzagged both the inseam and around the crotch on all of the pieces. And then I have stitched together the front and back sides. So right now I'm going to iron because I want to open up this seam so that it lies flat. So I've got each leg separate here. So once that's done, I will put the two sides together and stitch the crotch seam, and the curves are going to need to be clipped so that that can lie flat. So that's the plan for right now. And I want to get these side hems flattened out as well because they're a little bit wrinkly, and I never did a full iron on these either, so I will do that as well. They're at the point now where they're actually starting to look like pants. I have all the pieces sewn together. I need to measure out how long these are across the top and then add 40 inches and then make the ties. So the ties will be whatever that measurement is by 3 inches, and I need to make 2 because there's one for the front and one for the back. I will need to attach those to the pants, and then they'll get folded in half, and I'll do a top stitch around to finish them. And then it's just hemming the bottom of the legs. And that's it. So I'm gonna get going on that, and then I will try these on, see how they fit, and give you my final thoughts. Okay, so measurement across the top for these is 32. So the final length of the ties is going to be 72 inches by 3 inches, and I'll make 2 of those. This should be more or less square where I cut off the seam. So I'm just going to go from the edge here. So here's the finished product. They turned out great. All in all, it took me about 5 hours to make, but that includes setting up for filming, and I took a lunch break in there as well. So pretty quick project. I would say definitely doable in an afternoon. Sorry, I can't get my whole body in the shot. I would say if you are an absolute beginner to sewing, maybe don't start with this project because the blog post with the instructions doesn't go into a lot of detail. So there are certain things that you need to know in order to complete these. Like it didn't say anything about finishing the seams, and it didn't say anything about clipping the seams on curves. To be fair, I did not read the instructions that came with the pattern, so that information might be in there. But again, if you're an absolute beginner, I think it would be a little bit confusing to be jumping back and forth between reading the pattern instructions and reading the blog post. So the project is beginner friendly, but I would say maybe wait until you've done a couple of other projects to tackle these. I will say they are super comfy. And I like that you can either tie it in the front or in the back. I have it tied in the front, but you could have this the other way so that the flaps are in the back and they look more like normal pants in the front. They wrap around quite a bit, so like even moving my leg out, it's not really revealing a whole lot. There probably is better fabric that I could have used for this because this is a little bit on the stiff side. I'm hoping that it softens up with some wear and a few more washes. But if you were using a really drapey fabric, I think it would look even better. My only real gripes with this are to print out the pattern. It was 43 pages. And I think there were 3 or 4 pages that were completely blank, that had no pattern pieces on them. And I think that was a little unnecessary. And then there were another 3 or so pages that just had kind of a little sliver of part of a pattern on them. And I feel like if it had been planned out a little bit better, the pattern pieces could have been shifted over slightly to have the full pattern on the next page. So it was a little bit wasteful in terms of printing out paper. And then this pattern has 4 different lengths, and I went with the longest length, but I still find it a little bit short. I did a narrower hem than the instructions said to, and it's still like not quite floor length. So if you're taller, if you have longer legs, I would say maybe extend the pattern even further if you want them to be floor length. But the pattern was super easy. It was a really quick project to do up, beginner friendly, and it's a really fun design. I've been wanting to do a pair of wrap pants for quite a while now, so I'm happy that I finally have them done. And a recommendation, if you are looking for some cheap fabric, I would definitely check out the bedding section of the thrift store. Because once again, this fabric cost me less than $10, and I can get at least 2 more projects out of the fabric that I got from that duvet cover. That being said, if you have any ideas for what to do with the pink side of the duvet, please let me know. I have no idea. It is a little on the thin side, so it's a bit see-through. So I'm thinking if I do make a garment out of it, I'm gonna have to do a double layer or line it or something. But it's a very pretty soft pink, so I would like to do something with it. I think that's all I wanted to cover. This project definitely gets a thumbs up. It was really fun. I would definitely recommend doing it. I will leave both the pattern and the blog post with the wrap pants hack down in the description below. If you would like to see more from me, I have lots of other videos. I will leave a couple of them right here. And I'll just wrap up by saying thank you so much for watching. I hope I'll see you again soon. Bye.